Hello, it's Adam Morrison. When it comes to top-tier contracting, my go-to choice is McGilvery Environmental. I know a thing or two about excellence, and that's exactly what you'll find with Kip McGilvery and his team. They're not just any contractor, they're the best in Spokane and North Idaho. From start to finish, they ensure your project is completed with the highest quality results. With years of experience and expertise, they handle it all. New construction, meticulous repairs, asphalt paving for residential and commercial properties, excavation, and even environmental remediation. So why wait? Reach out to Kip McGilvery Environmental today by calling 208-556-6384 for your free estimate. Don't forget to mention my name, Adam Morrison, and experience the difference McGilvery Environmental brings to the table. Again, that's 208-556-6384, McGilvery Environmental. My number one choice for all my contracting needs. M4 CPA is a family-owned accounting firm passionate about helping businesses and their owners create a secure future for their families. They pride themselves on the quality of their work and put their clients first, ensuring they get the attention and care they deserve. Their mission is to provide exceptional accounting services to help you achieve your financial goals. M4 CPA is all about building long-term relationships based on trust, integrity, and transparency. With a team of experienced professionals, they offer personalized solutions to meet your needs. If you're a Perimeter listener, here's an exclusive offer for you. Mention the Perimeter podcast when you reach out to M4 CPA and get a free business consultation to assess your financial strategies. So, if you're looking for an accounting firm that truly cares about your business, trust M4 CPA. Accounting you can trust with a personal touch. Learn more at m4cpa.com. Welcome to the Perimeter, Season 5, Episode 11, presented by McGilvery Environmental, sponsored by Idaho Central Credit Union and N4 CPA. Great episode today. We're going to recap the win down in Portland against Oregon. Kind of an interesting venue, obviously the Moda Center, where the Blazers play, the old Rose Garden. Had some worry that the game was going to be like halfway full leading up to it. Yeah, we just heard that it wasn't doing great. Ticket sales, as far as, you know, there's a lot of contributing factors. One, we just played in Seattle. Their fan base just watched a home playoff football game.
Oh, right.
It was the 21st. It's 4 days before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those that there's a lot of boxes checked that were like, well, I can see why people maybe not be coming to this.
Mm-hmm.
But it ended up getting about 11,000 was the total number, which isn't bad.
Nice.
But just at the start, you're kind of looking around, you're like, oh, God. It's going to feel like a 1 versus 16 NCAA tournament game or 2 versus 15 where it's like exciting for 4 minutes. And
right.
Everybody's in the arena's like, let's go have a beer. And,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it sucks. But it was interesting because coming into the game, Oregon was 6-5, and you know they lost 5 in a row, and they lost 3 in a row at the Players era. But some of it had to do with injuries, and you look at their personnel, and obviously they play in the Big Ten. Dana Altman's terrific coach. I think he's been there 16 years. My memory serves. He's got 780 wins as 36 years in Division I basketball. Like, he can coach.
Yeah.
You know, he started the Creighton program, then obviously McDermott took it to another level, but he knows what he's doing, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at their roster, and you're like, okay, that guy was a 5-star, that guy was a 4-star, this guy was a McDonald's All-American. So you're like, there's something there. And, you know, sometimes it's transfer portal, getting guys mixed together the right way. Or if it felt like this will be a team that kind of has a bad start, and then you look up and they're 21-12, and they make the NCAA tournament as an 8 seed or whatever, and you're like, oh, this is a really tough out. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
coming into the game, that's what I felt like when I was doing my little prep to see what the matchup would be like. This team's better than 6-5. You know what I mean? It's like, this is, and then you watch them warm up, you're like, oh yeah, okay, it's Big Ten bodies and all those things. So I thought to start the game, you know, one of the biggest keys I said on the broadcast was like, we got to get our 2 lefties going. And I know I say that almost every time if you listen to our podcast, but it's so true because our Graham didn't start out great, and we looked
we weren't in great rhythm, right? So like I always say it kind of jokingly, but when those two are rolling inside or getting the ball in low post touches, getting double teamed, all those things, just opens up the floor for everybody else. And it just, now you get to go against closeouts. Now you get to go against tags. You know what I mean? Now, people are over helping and you get wide open shot, blah, blah, blah. Like when you can just get your big inside out stuff going, it just opens up the perimeter for everybody. It's just like running the football in football. Like it helps your quarterback.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're like,
of course, yeah.
Oh, it's only 2nd and 3. Awesome. You know what I mean? So it's similar mindset in that regard. And, I thought Steele came out terrific in the first half. Braden obviously was great. He was 4 for 7 at 10 points, kind of paced us. But Graham really struggled. He was 1 for 7. That Biddle kid was terrific. I'll get into his game a little bit later, but just defensively, he was terrific. But what was nice is we go 8 for 15 from 3, and it really saved us. Like, other than that, we weren't really good offensively. So like I said, Steele knocked one down. Braden knocked another one down. That's 3 games in a row that he's made a 3, which is a great sign, obviously, for us. Braden Smith hit a 3. Tyon made the end of the half one, which was like a broken play. Then Adam Miller was terrific. He had 3 threes. He was 3 for 4, had 9. So we go 8 for 15, 14 to 33 overall. So, like if you first look down, you're like, oh, okay, we played pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't terrible. But it was like, man, if we don't make those 3-point shots, we're kind of out of the game. We were minus 3-2 on the glass. So I remember thinking, like, okay, obviously we got a 3-point lead, and, overall we're better than this team, but like not by much as far as the first 5 personnel, but then our bench is way better. Like they scored 77 a game, and 60 of their points come from the starters. So I was like, okay, if you can limit their starters, you're probably going to win the game. But it was also like, if they can hang with us in this type of game and kind of muck it up and slow it down, they got to feel pretty good. And I thought they did that in the first half, right? For the most part.
100%, yeah.
And so defensively, they were pretty good, especially on Graham. Graham just struggled with the size and missed a couple bunnies too. It's not like they were just absolutely locking him down. He just couldn't get himself in a rhythm. But we ended up hitting that 3, like I said, with Tyon, and we go up 3. But it was like, well, we don't look very good today.
No,
you know what I mean?
I was a little nervous going in halftime tied. It was just like, you would, because we had an 8-point lead, right, in the first half at one point, and it was just like, it just seemed like they just kept on sticking around.
Yep. And their deal was, all right, let's, like I said, muck it up. We had 3 really bad defensive possessions too, though, that were like wide ass open layups and dunks. There was one in transition, and then there was 2 tags. And one of the players was the culprit. I won't say it because I don't know. It's just not. He had a bad first half. Defensively. And it was like so. Then my point is, like, they get 6 like easy, like really bad. I mean, one was in transition where, do you remember that? It was like Stewart or something, like literally just dribbled it, and then like the whole scene was parted. He just dunked it, and it was like everybody stood around just looking at each other. It was so bad. It was like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, you can have a mishaps, but that one was like, this looks like a really shitty team right now. Like, we look shitty. But point being is, it goes to the talent of our second unit, especially, that they can come in, so our first half, we get 20 points off the bench, right?
Yeah.
Smith gives us 5, Tyon gives us 6, and Adam Miller gives us 9. It's terrific.
It's awesome.
So what I'm getting at is, it's really nice that we have this type of club, because last year, obviously, we ended up having a great season. Took Houston to this, but if we had that bad of a first half, I don't think we get bailed out like we did or have the lead.
100%.
100%.
Yes.
So like this crew is a little bit different. Is there's so many different avenues to score the basketball. Obviously, our 2 lefties are going to get the first crack at everything, but Adam Miller can give you 9 real quick, and then Tyon can give you 6. You know what I mean? Like, you can figure out. And then obviously Steele was great as a starter, but it was like he gives you 2 threes right away. So don't shoot it well, get bailed up by the 3-point line, and -3 at the glass and still up 3. on the road, quote unquote, and it was a neutral, but you're kind of on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I felt good in that regards, but it was like, oh man, we got to get our asses in gear here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the Biddle kid was terrific. He was a 2021, I think, McDonald's All-American. You can see it. Like, he doesn't look the part as far as, like, athletically, and I mean that in a nice way.
Yeah, he looks like a
1970s big. It's
Yeah,
not
he
just like his
does.
hairstyle, like just how
Right.
he moves.
yeah.
But you're like, fuck, the kid's good.
Mhm.
Like, obviously, he averaged, I think, like 15 and 10 or something last year, and he led the Big Ten in blocks.
Wow. Yeah.
And he bothered, I mean, how many blocks did he have the first half? He had 4.
Wow,
He
yeah.
bothered EK the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
just with his length and his timing. And it just goes to show, like, you don't really have to be a super athlete to be a great defender or shot blocker. It's angles, timing, and then, too, it's not just about blocks. If you can make a guy miss, that's the stat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of NBA teams do it. I guarantee, you know, high-level college basketball teams do it. It's like, it's not the block shot. If you can make a miss around the rim, you did your job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people fall in love with certain, you know, same with steals. Steals are great, but if you're constantly gambling and out of position, and then, so maybe you get 2 steals a game, but four times you miss it and they get a layup or, you know, a kick
Yeah.
out, then what is it really worth? I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather have the guy that maybe gets 1 steal, but he's in perfect position every single time. All right, I'll trade that for the same thing with block. If you
Mhm.
can, you know, cause havoc and make guys miss, you did your job. So anyway, going into the second half, it was like, okay, hopefully we can get Graham going and get the, you know, kind of the umph back with our front line. And they did exactly that. They went to him probably 3 straight plays. He started 2 for 5 in the second half, but he made 2 buckets. And it was like, okay, you know, he's feeling better,
Mm-hmm.
you know, scoring the basketball. And then Braden Huff was terrific for the total game. He ends up having 20. He's averaging 19 points. He's having a terrific season.
Yeah.
6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, no turnovers. He goes plus 11 on the plus minus. You mentioned that 3 earlier. So he was fantastic, just making those little floats and those
Yeah.
like 14-foot floating runners that, like, I looked at Dana Altman one time, and because, you know, our guys can throw that pocket pass, and Dana just like looked at his guys like, we kind of have to give up that shot. Like, it's a 14-foot one-hander.
Mhm.
Like, I know we
Yeah.
can make it, but like, analytically, if we're in a plug or a drop, like, that's what we give up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what else to do. And not that it's a flawless strategy for us to constantly make those shots, so he can make them, but also sometimes they might come off the back rim, and then you're like, why aren't we getting it inside more? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's the counter to that style of shot or that thinking. But you know, he was terrific just on those short roll deals.
And he had like a really this awesome. He just did the lefty thing and just like went right underneath the
I know.
defender and just like laid it in, and just like I was like, that's the lefty problem, right? That you always talk about.
Yeah, it's the two. It's just odd. It's
yeah.
just guarding 2 lefties, and then I got to give credit to Graham. He had some really good passes in the second half, like the short big to big passing, which, you know, some people think is easier said than done. No, it's like, it's hard to sometimes complete a 4-footer when there's hands everywhere, and then your other guy's got to be ready for it. You know, like up fake. Oh, I could take a 6-foot, but oh, my guy's kind of open right here. And like, that's a hard play to maneuver
Right.
because it's just such a weird pass.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, do you throw a bounce pass, or do you, like, you can't rip it at him,
Right.
and you got to throw it against hands, and then the guy's got to catch it off balance and go up and score it. So I thought Graham did a good job of keeping his composure, and he ended up getting 17 and 11 on 4-14. So, and I said it on the radio, and I've said it in seasons past and maybe on a few episodes. If you're a team leader like Graham and Braden are, and you have a bad shooting night, if you get to your numbers still somehow and still be productive like he did, he goes 9-11 from the free throw line, that's what good players do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't just a complete, oh, shit, he had 8. Like, he still got to 17 and 11, still played good defense at 3 assists, only 1 turnover, plus 7 on the plus minus. Like, so my point is, like, that's a really mature thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're playing not great, kind of off balance, but you figure out a way to get to the free throw line. You figure out a way to get to the get the rebounds and still contribute for your team. And then wasn't just like catching it. He's done it in years past, maybe 2 years ago, where he wasn't playing good, but he's like, I got to shoot a 18-foot fadeaway. He's like, no, that's not the shot.
Right.
Even though he can make it. Shoot that when you're rolling, not when you're not rolling type of deal. So I was impressed with Graham's just, emotional maturity, I guess is the right thing to say as a team leader. Like, you have to get your numbers somehow. And he did that exactly. So, and then, we got to talk about Steele Venters. He goes 4 for 5 from 3. Has a terrific second half. He's starting to snap it off right now. Like, sprint to open areas, not even thinking. Plays good defense as well. Battles. So he's been shooting the heck out of the ball. I think he started 4 for 16 on the season. And then I think Huddy said it on the air. He's climbed himself up to like 38.5, 39%. And I've always said 40 is the number, but if you're above 35 with volume, it's good enough in my book. So I'm proud of the kid for not starting the season the kind of way he wanted to. But we said it on the air, and I said it here. It's like a lot of his shots were just in and outs. Like, they look good. And it's hard to continue to believe in that. But ever since Vegas, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 games, and some of it's not his fault. It was just the ball was going somewhere else. You know what I mean? How much the depth we've had. He's been shooting it great and playing terrific minutes for us. So he gives us 14. Tyon gives us 10. Braden Huff was obviously terrific. Adam Miller only played a few minutes in the second half, but we got to talk about it, and I've been saving it. It was Braden Smith, how terrific he was last night. I mean, he kind of wins that game for us in the second half. I think Mario had some illness issues.
I think on the main broadcast, they said he had a cold.
Yeah, that's a few he said in the post-game presser that he said he was battling something all week. And because he got yanked at like 16 in the second half, and he didn't come back in. And which is the beauty of having this good of a lineup. But Braden Smith, man, like, he controlled the pace of the game, was making all those pocket passes, obviously was scoring the basketball. He goes 7 for 10. It was 21, leads us in scoring. 6 assists from six assists, from the free throw line. 7 assists, no turnovers. Mixes in 3 rebounds. You couldn't ask for a better game, especially from a backup point guard perspective.
Right.
He was absolutely terrific. I mean, there was a moment there that we were just completely running. The whole offense was you just throw it to him and run high ball screen action. And he manipulated the whole thing. Like, he just controlled the game. He made so many good plays, against their 2-3 zone. I think UCLA started zoning us, and obviously Oregon tried it, and they did a pretty good job in the first half. It bothered us for a second.
Yeah.
But hats off to that kid because, I mean, we've talked about it. Lost his starting job. He's coming off a redshirt year, so you're sitting. Okay, the job's mine. You lose it. It's easy in today's world, man, for guys to go, fuck this, man. You know what I mean? Like, he's hung with it and has had some really good. He's stacked in some really good games and like a really important part of the season for us.
Yeah.
Right before the WCC, and then the same old story. We got to kind of stack our tough games early compared to other places. You're like, well, shit. Here comes the Big 12 and here comes the Big 10 schedule. Like, let's. Yeah. I mean, they flip it. It's just naturally. So I mean, he was absolutely fantastic. Like I said, just controlled the pace. Was scoring the ball, getting to the paint, and then his little pocket passes to Braden and Graham are just so. I don't know if you realize how hard those are to complete. Everybody thinks it's an easy 4-footer, but like you got to have the guts to throw that pass, because if it gets stolen, it looks really shitty.
Yeah, it does.
It looks bad, and usually you're going the other way, and sometimes it turns into 2-on-1. And like if you have a couple of those, like Fewy doesn't like you for a good stretch, like so you're dealing with that, but. Hats off to the kid. I said it on the previous episode too when I talked about the broadcast. He was up to that point, I think last game or before Campbell. Yeah, he was 4-1 assist to turnover coming off the bench. He was 44-11 or something like that, around that range. So if you're sitting there looking at, okay, obviously this kid was player of the year at Colgate, transfers, sits out a year, which was the right move for him last year. He didn't have to. Like, it's a free transfer. He sits out because Nemhard's going to play a shit ton, and there was no debate about that, and rightfully so. And Nolan Hickman, like, no, man, this is their guy's time.
Yeah.
They're seniors. They've earned this. And then, like I said, the situation that's happened, and then he stacks like 3 games in a row that he's really, really good off the bench, like scoring it, knocking down a 3 a game. You know what I mean? And just making all the right plays. Like, couldn't be happier for a kid. Like, honestly, like, he's had so many good stanzas. The game in Seattle, he was terrific. He had the highest plus minus, him and Adam Miller, but he was plus 12. And he's just doing all the things that don't show up on the box score. Like, he had a play yesterday against the 2-3 zone where he got skipped. He did it against UCLA too. And instead of like holding it for a second, he just saw the gap and ripped, just knowing that I'm getting to the zone. You teach kids this. You get to the zone, make it collapse so your partner can get a shot. That's all I'm doing. You're like, sometimes you tell young players, hey, against the zone, you got to have penetration via the pass or the dribble. And if you can get it in the dribble and make the zone shift, that's where the shots become created. If you just hold it, then it's easy to play zone, right?
Yeah.
And so as a player, sometimes it's hard, especially in a competitive, personnel roster that we have that are fighting for minutes in a good way. It's hard to go, fuck, all right, here's my time to touch it, and I got to just go here and then throw it to somebody else. It's unselfish.
Yeah.
And he's done that plenty of times this year, obviously, but he's done it in stanzas of games where it just makes complete sense. Gets somebody a wide open shot. He hit Steele on one where he drove in, caught eye contact with Steele. Steele, went one jab step right, and then he hit him perfectly on time, on target, whack.
Yeah.
And those are just deflating plays for the defense. So, like, I'm really impressed with the kid, how he's handled himself, how well he's playing. It's just such an asset that, he's playing almost the same minutes as Mario, but like getting out of the starting lineup is a thing. And we've talked, people were talking about it. I'm just really impressed with the kid, how well he's played. And, it's not just because he scored 21. It's just the temperament and disorganizing the defense off his ball screen actions and being completely under control. He's a really good defender. He's obviously small, but he gets through ball screens. He's tough. I had a coach that said it, and it's so true. If a guy's that size playing at this level, you already know he's tough.
Right.
Has to be, right? His whole life. And this is not a knock. It's not making fun of people who are short or whatever, but his whole life is like, oh, you're little, man. I'm going to kick your ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, especially in boys and sports. So, like, you're like, oh, yeah, he's tough. So I'm just really impressed. He won that game for us in the second half. He's been terrific. We do a good job on the glass. We were -3, ended up going +2. Huge number for us, too. We go 20 assists, only 5 turnovers. Can't beat that.
No.
And I think of the points off turnovers. What did I see? Where's it at? We had one. Yeah, 19-4, Gonzaga favor. So we really, scored off their turnovers and made them pay. Points in the paint were about similar, but our bench points, and it was a point that we talked about on the broadcast. Like our personnel, their personnel is really good. Their guards were good. Blah blah blah. But like overall, that's one of our check marks. We go 40-13.
Yeah.
On bench points. So I think it was a terrific win. I think, I'm not just saying, I think Oregon will be a team that, they're 6-6, but I think if they can get right and get healthy, he has the personnel and the body types to be all right in the Big Ten. And hopefully it turns into a quad 1 somehow. It should be a quad 2. But I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon, you look up and they're one of those teams that's like I said, 21-14, but like good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like grinds out some really good wins in the Big Ten, all those things. So it'll be interesting how that goes. I was a little bit surprised of kind of the fervor from the fans. There wasn't much energy in there from Oregon fan base standpoint. And that's not a knock. It just it was kind of a dead atmosphere. Did they have lots of stuff to cheer about? And it's not a knock. It's like, there were some nice plays. They weren't completely quiet, but it was kind of a dead atmosphere for both teams. Like, But again, like I said, there's other factors. Like sometimes people are not as excited that they're watching college football right now. That fan base,
Right, yeah.
and rightfully so. Like they have a chance to win a national championship.
Definitely.
And then it was kind of weird timing. 4 days before Christmas, it's hard to get people to go spend money. I get it. Like,
Yeah, and I gotta imagine, Oregon fans are smart fans. They're going up against Gonzaga, who's really good this year.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
You're probably as a Gonzaga fan who's watched Gonzaga play a lot of big teams. Like sometimes you just go into a game thinking, I want this game to stay close. Maybe we'll have a chance. And they had a chance. They looked good. But I can understand why it was kind of dead.
Yeah, it was a little bit dead. That Biddle kid ended up having 28. He kept him in it. He's 10 for 19, goes 3 for 8 from downtown. This is a 7-footer, close to, has 9 rebounds. 5 assists, no turnovers, 4 blocks. He was fantastic for them. Their guards were all right. Shellstad was already at 12. They get 13 out of Simpkins and 14 out of Evans, and they're shooting 50%. So, if you look at their numbers from an Oregon standpoint, you're like, shoot, we shoot 48%. We make 11 threes, 35%, and we go 13 to 13 from the line. And you're like, we still lose by 9.
It's
you know what I mean?
those turnovers.
Those turnovers killed them. Yeah, they have 11, and we get the we go. The 19-4 on points off turnovers. They had 20 assists as well, but it was one of those deals that, if you look back, you're like, that's what I was trying to get at. I was like, this team is better than 6-6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just like, man, the kid off the bench, Lynn, was terrific. He has 9 for them. This is a point. This is weird, and you've seen around college basketball. There's guy for Santa Clara that played in the G League and still eligible. This Lin kid played in the Chinese Basketball Association for 3 years.
Yeah.
And now he can play college basketball. It's just weird to me.
It is weird, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, no, he was like, oh, okay, and then you're a junior, I guess. All right, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, apparently he averaged 21 in the CBA, they call it. And that's a good league. It really is. Like, there's Euro League and there's tiers, and it's higher up there if you're going overseas. It really is. It's good basketball. So I thought he was good off the bench. And like I said, you look at their total numbers, you're like, shit, they're not bad. You know what I mean? It's how are they 6-6?
Yeah, they got a gauntlet. I mean, being in the Big Ten, looking at their schedule on the KenPom website, it's just every game's quad 1, quad 2.
One,
It's like they have it looks like they have 10 quad 1 opportunities over the next.
Well, and the beauty of that is if you are 6-6 and you roll into that league and probably go. They play probably 18 games or whatever, and let's say you go 12-6 or even 10-8, and you get to the semis of your conference tournament, you probably will get in.
Yeah,
I mean, that happened last year with the SEC. There was teams that were whoever the hell we played. Georgia was 500 in the SEC last year, barely above 500. We played them in the second round or whatever we did, or the first round.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So. Point being. I think Oregon's a good basketball team. Not just saying it, and it's not like us trying to, rally for them to get us a better quad 1 or quad 2. It's just they got some good players. They got some big bodies, good guard play, good coach. I think they'll turn it around. But point being, it's a good win for us, no matter the record.
Definitely,
it just is.
Yeah.
And so I was proud of our guys. It's a perfect way to go into WCC. A little bit of break and go into the last ever WCC season.
I know, yeah.
Kind of crazy.
It is crazy. The Perimeter will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
It's time for Home Team Rewards. Zag fans, get your Bulldog branded ICCU Premier Rewards Visa credit card, the only card where you can earn rewards for everyday purchases while giving back to Gonzaga University. Choose from a Visa Rewards card with a lower rate or a Premier Rewards card with maximum rewards. With no annual fees, card control, and next-level security, you can spend smart from tap to app. Zags, rejoice! Find your card at iccu.com/GoZags on approved credit.
WCC season.
I know, yeah.
Kind of crazy.
It is crazy. We talked about already. I wanted to just touch on the McGilvery's foundation player of the game. To me, it has to be Braden Smith, obviously.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
I mean, he was fantastic. I mean, Huff, has 20, but he does that all the time. And just Braden Smith off the bench, man. Again, if you go back and watch like the last 5-6 games, he's just making all the right basketball plays. Anything you tell him to do as a point guard, he's taking care of the basketball. Now he's mixing in scoring. I mean, he scored it at Colgate. He was player of the year, so it's not like, and like I said, he's good defensively. He's a tough ass.
Yeah.
Good kid. So I was just happy when things don't go a kid's way, and then they kind of get themselves off the scrap heap and start playing well, and they get rewarded for it. Because like I said, Fewey in that second half was like, no, you take the ball and just run ball screens. Like that's all we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the trust that he has, obviously, and it's cool that you can have a player that's coming off the bench and still trust him in that regards, and just like, okay, let's go, let's take us home. So yeah, he was obviously terrific and much deserved foundation player of the game.
Yeah. Well, you want to get into the Pepperdine game, or do you want to get into M4 CPA stat of the week?
Let's talk about the stat of the week real quick.
Okay, so I was pulling. I thought of this in the shower this morning when I was thinking of. I had a stat of the week, and I'm going to use it later in the year when it makes more sense to use it. But I was like, Gonzaga has a record right now of 4-1 against the top 25 teams in the season so far, and I was like, I wonder what the rest of the WCC's record is against the top 25. And the record is, I was doing this by hand. The WCC right now is 4-4 versus top 25 teams, and as we enter the season, I was just like, I don't know if I've been confident going into the WCC season before as a fan. This has to be top 3 confidence
level. Yeah, I mean, obviously St. Mary's is good. I haven't watched them, but they're always, Brandy Bennett's going to be good. I heard USF is always competitive.
Yeah.
But other than that, I haven't seen anything else from any other teams. Like LMU has a good record. Some of the teams have good records, but to be fair, who are they playing? And that's not a knock. It's just, you got to start diving into records. You got to say, okay, what's your strength of schedule, Ken Palm, all those things, who are you playing? And are they in the top 200? Are they top 300? What quad are they in or whatever?
Right.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Pepperdine, who were playing first in the season, their one of the losses was against number 12 UCLA at the time, and they lost to them only by... They write down 74-65.
Yeah.
So
give them an effort.
And then Seattle U, they haven't played any top 25 teams, but they beat Stanford and
UW. Yeah, Seattle U's that's the new one, and that's June's on that team.
Yeah,
and he's actually having a good season. Last time I looked, he was averaging like 13 or something like that. So I'll be rooting for June in that game just because. I'll be like, June, what's up? So yeah, that's an interesting stat just because. 4-4, and we're the 4 wins.
Yeah. It kind of gives, it shows how we schedule, but I was actually surprised to see that there hadn't been many teams that had scheduled. There wasn't even many top 50 Ken Palm. It was a lot of easy schedules.
Yeah.
And but it's different for them, I imagine.
It is different, and there's formulas too, and I've talked about this just with us getting into the NCAA tournament. There's formulas for coaches, and this is I say this the right way, but it needs to be taken the right way. Let's say you haven't had a great overall record in the last 3 years. You probably want to schedule a chance to try to get to 20 wins. So when you walk into your AD's office, well, I had 20 wins this year. What the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean? And then it makes it harder for a guy to look somewhere else.
Yeah.
As far as job opportunity and all those things. So there is that, and that's a natural human thing to do. And then also the counter is you got to know where your personnel is at. And so going to play a bunch of gauntlets, is that going to help your kids get better and, team chemistry and team emotional and all that stuff? Is that going to help? Probably not. Now, some of these programs that have to we call them the buy games or whatever, BUY, you pay them to come play. Right. Some do it because they have to pay bills. And so Southern Utah, we played North Florida, right? And that's not a knock on them. They came here as they're probably got to check for X amount of dollar, 100,000 or whatever it is. all right, come here and lose by 35. And
yeah.
So how many do you do of those? Then also too, your schedule's got to get approved from the up and ups at your university.
Yeah.
So you can't just like a lot of times too, people don't realize like scheduling's harder than it looks. You don't just call each other and go, "You want to play in this?" Like, okay, arena availability. How much is it going to cost for us to get there? Are you going to pay for a hotel? Right. Who's going to feed us? All that stuff matters, especially in college sports when it's the lower universities are quote unquote they're not not have as much money.
Right.
You have to consider those things.
Yeah, like when Southern Utah came up here to play Gonzaga, 2 days later they were playing WSU.
Yeah, a lot of teams do that. They go Eastern, WSU, or Idaho, and they make it a worthwhile trip. So that's part of the scheduling.
Right.
So let's say in March we're calling you for next year, and we call one of those universities. Well, then you're like, well, hold on, I'll get back to you. I got to call WSU, Idaho first, or the Eastern. Do they want to play us too?
Right.
And what if they're like, well, actually, we're out of town. So, and then you're like, well, fuck. We can't come all the way here for one game. It's hard to sell to my AD, even though we're going to get a check and then come all the way back. You know what I mean? Like if we knock out 3 of them and maybe go 1 and 2, it'd be a good trip for us, right?
Yeah.
Or go beat the Cougs, or maybe go beat Eastern, whatever. So that's part of it. So some of that has to be taken in context when you look at the other WCC schools and how they schedule, and it's fair.
Yeah.
And it's not like it'd be easiest for us to point the finger and be like, oh, they're ducking everybody. It's like, no, that's not where your program's at. Like why? And what it was crazy though with these teams too. If you look at every time we play them, all the transfers that come in and out, and like a lot of the transfers just come from the similar size university or similar conference. So like they're just shuffling players around. Or then if their transfers or their players get good, they just get picked off by the bigger programs.
Yeah.
It's like that kid at WSU, I can't remember his name, but he had 40 in a game in the Maui this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And hopefully he stays, but somebody's probably already called him.
Right.
Hey, do you want to come somewhere else next year? You know what I mean? Which is crazy. And we can laugh at it, but it's like it's still nuts.
Yeah.
That like some of these universities that are good coaches, good programs. Gino Auriemma had a great rant about it about 2 years ago. I know it's on the girls' side, but it's exactly the same. And they played, I think it was St. John's or Providence on the girls' side. And UConn obviously wins a close game, whatever that means on the girls' side, because usually they beat the shit out of everybody. So maybe it was a 10-point game, And he just went on a rant. He's like, how is it fair to this? He was talking about the coach. Like, how's it fair to such and such that he's made this team to where it's at, and I'll probably get his 2 best players next year. And he knows it's messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, some of these guys and gals don't have a chance to, like, legitimately build. It's hard, man. So the reason I'm saying is the context of some of the WCC schools are in the same boat.
Yeah.
Portland last year, I think, lost their 2 best guys, one to Wisconsin and one to, like, St. Louis or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, their 2 leading scorers. So it's just hard to...
But yeah, when I was pulling Pepperdine's, like, team, the kind of look at this week, like, they have 2 returning players.
Yeah.
And, like, their best player, Mo Odom, went to ASU.
Yeah, and we've played him 3 different places.
Yeah.
We played at Pacific.
Oh,
he was at Pacific first. Then he was really good at Pepperdine, and then obviously he was good against us at ASU, and he's having a good year. They're 9-4. Just had a tough loss against Oregon State.
Yeah,
but again, it's the same story. So sometimes it's you have to put it in context with some of the WCC teams, and it's not a thumbing our nose at them, or you know what I mean. Like,
right.
We're not doing that. We're being honest.
Yeah, of
kind of the state of the league and the state of some of where these programs are at compared to us. We've hit lightning in a bottle, and Gonzaga is a different beast as far as success rate, size of the university, all those things. A lot of good things have happened, but it's stayed upward trajectory.
So yeah, I should ask, like, since we're on the topic of the WCC, like, what would you, as we go into WCC play, like, what are your expectations for this last season?
So I think, obviously we want to win it. And do we have a team to run the table? Yeah, we always could argue that, yes.
Yeah.
We lost 4 games last year. That was the most in, I think, Fewey's tenure. So do these teams have a chance to beat us? No BS. Yes, they do. And you play in these smaller gyms, and sometimes you get on the road and things don't go your way. They can snowball, like we saw Santa Clara last year, right? You know, and obviously St. Mary's both times. I think it was both times they beat us. Yeah, I think it was both times anyway. So it obviously, are we going to be heavily favored? Yeah. But I don't like to sit here and be like, oh, we're going to run the table. I wouldn't be surprised if we do, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't.
Yeah.
I know that's a cop-out, but it's just the absolute truth on there's some good coaches in this league. And there's some teams that, like, you know, all new guys, like, they don't give a shit who we are. You know what I mean? Like, well, whatever, just go have fun. And, two, I've said it, you play these teams on the road and you watch the film from the previous game, there's 600 people there, girlfriends and buddies, and then you get there and then it's sold out. Like, the guys start getting ready to play, you know what I mean? So you always have that Super Bowl aspect. It's everybody's Super Bowl when you play us, that thing, that's a real thing.
Definitely.
So I obviously I think we're primed and ready to, you know, have a good run. But it's also interesting, it's the last go round. Yeah. So it's kind of neat. But it's going to be a little bittersweet. I know a lot of people have mixed emotions about it. It's the right move for us. You can't convince me otherwise. When somebody does that, we talked about this a shit ton last year when it first came out that we were going to the Pac-12, the new Pac-12. Yeah. Well, it's all about greed. It's like, no, it's not. It's about balancing your checkbook, man. Like, it's just how it works. And also, to be fair, you know, I've been just defending the WCC and the programs. Some of these programs haven't invested into their facilities or their programs, and it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, Pepperdine's getting a new building, okay? And then Santa Clara made an investment, a big one. USF did a new, like, renovation of their building. Who's the other one? Somebody else did the same thing. St. Mary's their place used to look like a dump, and I mean that in the nicest way, but it was like barren white walls. Now it's got a nice video board. It's cool. They got a bar upstairs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they got back seats, and it's like it's a cracker box, but it's like full, super energy, like it's loud. All that stuff is like, yeah, it's fun playing here, man. Even though we're in hostile territory, it's fun. You know what I mean? Like, it's a cool atmosphere. That's 10, 15 years too late. Not just from our perspective. If you didn't reinvest in the program, and then the league gets to a certain point, and our brand gets to a certain point, we have to move somewhere else to pay bills.
And how long as Gonzaga fans have we been talking about this too? Like, I feel like, I remember the Big East was we were talking about going to the Big East. Yeah.
So, like, in my opinion, this is just me. If some of these schools made the same investment that they are now in 2010, we might have not had to leave, because then some of these schools it'd have been a 2-bid or a 3-bid league. That's no different than the Big East at around the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then you're like, you don't have to leave. So part of it's that, you know. So it'll be interesting to see what our reception is.
Yeah, no,
because it's like, thanks for everything, but F you for leaving. But then also, like, we can't, you know, sit here and act like, you know, once we leave, like, you know, it's like when you leave a place and then you look back and you're like, oh, it's still working without me. You know what I mean? Like, you can't assume that the whole league's going to crumble because we're not in it.
Right.
But also, they're on TV a lot because of us. But also, there's some good programs in there, too. Yeah. Like, USF has done really well in the last 10 years. Todd Golden, part of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then Santa Clara, Herb Syndics, they're a good program. They win 20 games a year. You know what I mean? They're always a good program. You know, so, but then you're also like, I should have tried this earlier. And then obviously St. Mary's is kind of a class of their own of how Randy makes that whole deal work down there. So, I don't know. I'm excited for it, but a little bittersweet because it's a unique conference from the standpoint of Jesuit schools, obviously, you know, the sizes of the universities, the intimacy of the gyms. and then how much we've dominated it, but how St. Mary's has moved into that category of being almost a for sure NCAA tournament team as well, and kind of doing it with, like the resources they have. And that's not a knock, but if you walk into it's St. Mary's College, for Christ's sake, you know what I mean? Like Randy's done a really good job down there. You're like, all right, good for you. And they've had really good players. So you take in all that, it's kind of, it's not sad, but it's just how the world works now. It's like, all right, you kind of outgrew your parents' house and you got to move out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And this is how it works. Even though I like to get laundry done and my bed made and whatever, I got to move out and do it on my own. And that's kind of where we're at. And the new Pac-12 is going to be great, I think. We'll talk about that probably after the season. We'll do a recap of talking about next year, but it'll be interesting because we've had some great games and seasons in these gyms, and not just before the few era. Like there was some fun basketball prior to that. That just we're not gonna be a part of it anymore. Yeah. So it's kind of unique.
It is. It's kind of bitter. Yeah, it is very bittersweet.
Bittersweet.
I was gonna ask, like, I was actually looking at the schedule. I was like, I have a friend that lives down in Walnut Creek, and I was like, you know what? I might need to fly down there and try to go to the last St. Mary's game.
It's fun, and Walnut Creek is awesome, by the way. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been down there.
I have, yeah. No,
it's terrific. It's like one of our favorite stops. But yeah, it's just going to a game there. It's like it's old school. They're respectful, but they almost cross the line.
Right.
But they're nice. You know what I mean? Like now, so when I played there, it was brutal. And then now, like me walking around, like guys are like, "Love you, but hate you, man." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's respectful, but it's like I hate you too. But that's it was fun, right? Like just like walking or like. I mean, like you walk in there and like to get to the locker room. Same with Pepperdine. Like you kind of have to walk through the fans. Like it's just old. It's old school, and the locker rooms are shitty and. Ours was the same way. When I say that, it's like the kennel was the exact same thing. Yeah. So, like, when I say that, we're not, like, thumbing our noses at people. We're like, oh, we're way better. It's like, all right, we made the investment 25 years ago or whatever, McCarthy 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's just, you don't get the nostalgia of high-level college basketball and cracker box gyms. It's just fun, man.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people argue, and I get it. These neutral site games pay bills. But, like, playing a home and home is so much more fun.
Yeah.
Like, Creighton come to our place. Good job, McDermott, because we'll go to their place next year. Awesome. Yeah, I mean?
Yeah.
And then Kentucky doing it. Like, Cal coming in. And then we went to their place. And then, obviously, now we did Climate Pledge in Nashville. And then I don't know where the next one is, but it's a 6-game series.
Right, yeah.
But we actually played on campus. Awesome. Nobody does that anymore. And
I think next year's at McCarthy.
At McCarthy, and then probably finish at Rupp too. Yeah. So then, 2 more. So but again, it's going to be fun going into the WCC season. Excuse me. But there's a lot of, like I said, I'm curious to see how we get treated.
Yeah. Well, I think you might have said it, but we're going to get the best from everyone. Like yes. USF is going to want to beat us in our gym, which they haven't done in since the 80s.
The 80s, which is insane.
And
this is insane to even think about.
And St. Mary's is not going to want us to win the WCC.
Win the WCC and what have you. So I haven't watched enough of the other clubs. And last year was a different animal. And obviously we won the tournament, so it was great, backing that up. But, obviously this year we're going to be heavily favored in probably most of the games, where it's going to be 10-point type favors and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to it, but again, it's a bittersweet. And, from a selfish standpoint, we have the best travel schedule. I've said this before. We have the best travel schedule in the country. Like when you get into January, you're like, okay, we're going to L.A. twice.
Yeah.
San Diego. Portland's not bad. Then you go to Walnut Creek and Santa Clara.
Right.
And then you mixed in Seattle. Like Seattle's not a bad trip.
Right.
Seattle U. So you're like, we have the best fucking travel. And these aren't little, like, college towns. Obviously, you're going to San Francisco, and I'm going to Santa Clara. Like, you're going to nice places that are usually warm and blah, blah, blah.
And because we have Seattle U and the WCC this year, we only play, a couple teams, once. And so we don't have to – you don't got to go down to Stockton this year.
We don't do the Stockton trip. Yeah, that one I usually omit myself from that one. That's neither here nor there. And so yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah. But like I say, how they treat us. Mm-hmm. And I mean this in the nicest way, but sometimes when like me and Tom get there to go do radio and stuff, you'll show up and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, you guys are right over there," and you're like, "Okay, where's the plug-in and the Ethernet?" They're like, "Oh, you guys need that," and you're like,
"We're doing a live radio show.
We're doing like live radio show," and you're like, "Yeah, like." It happened at Pepperdine 2 years ago. They put us to the top corner, and there was a TV game. So the TV camera, the whole box, the big TV cameras, are right dead ass in the middle of the bleachers. So we had an obstructed view to start, and we were walking in, we're like, you gotta be shitting me. You know what I mean? Like, put us on the scores table. We'll butt up against each other, but like, just put us right by our bench that everybody does. Right. That's what we do for their radio. And then we get up there, and it's just a table, and there's not an outlet, and there's no Ethernet cord.
Oh my gosh.
And the guy's like, "Oh yeah," and so they ran like old school. They ran like a with the connectors, like an Ethernet cord from like an office in the hallway. I'm not kidding.
That's
so then people could step on it and shit. Yeah. So you're like, and then an obstructed view. And then we had to get them to get an extension cord, to like a 20-foot extension cord just to plug in our Comrex. And you're sitting there like, I don't want to be an asshole, but like, this game is on TV for your university. I know you don't need it, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like, how the fuck do you not know this? And like, then you don't want to be rude to, you're like, okay, we understand it's radio and what have you, but like this radio broadcast pays a lot of bills, like advertising and stuff. It really does. That's why we do an hour pregame and an hour postgame. There's a lot of commercials that come on. Yeah. So like we pay bills with this. This keeps lights on in some of the building is why we do this radio show. You know what I mean? And people obviously listen to it, but it's like your guys' radio is streamed on your website. Like, nobody gives a shit. So like we actually have sponsors and blah blah blah. Like we have to be on the air. Like,
and you got to be able to see the players.
Yeah, and we got to be able to see what the hell's going on. Like we have this is a legitimate fan base. You know what I mean? Learfield's a real company. Like we have to be on the air at this time. And so that's my point. Is like how we're gonna get treated. But we're always like, this is an asshole in me. But I'm like, shit, when they come to our town, put them up fucking top in the corner. Like,
put them up in our press row.
Put them up way up top and like make them wear binoculars. Like, fuck, man. Like, anyway, so yeah, it'll be fun. Pepperdine's solid as far as solid as they can be, I guess. They're 5-8. They're always a tricky team to play down there. Mm-hmm. They've had some games like recently, even when like our 21 team. Remember they were up against our 21 team. The team that we lost in the championship against Baylor, they were up like 4 with like 8 minutes to go. And I remember like, oh, this would be fucking great if they beat us. Like I remember calling the game like, this would be fun just for the content and like to hear the bullshit afterwards. Like Pepperdine had, it's just how you were looking at it. So we knew we weren't going to lose, but I'm like, oh shit, there's 8 minutes to go and they're up 4. Like hell yeah, like come on Waves, let's go. So yeah, it's always, you just never know when you play them. They play really good at home. Mm-hmm. It's a fun gym to go to. It's old school. They're just opening a brand new building next year, so it's kind of like I said, a little too late. Mm-hmm. With Pepperdine though, you have to give them the fair context, and I think I've said this on the previous season. Getting stuff like built there, it's not a money thing. Obviously, it's a prestigious university. It's in Malibu. It's getting approved for anything. Yeah. And it makes sense. The story I got told, and it makes complete sense. And I may be off a little bit on the details, but whatever. I got the gist of it. Is they had a soccer stadium, and I think the men's and women's soccer teams are usually probably pretty good. Mm-hmm. Right? They have a chance to be good. They're in California. Right. If you're a kid in that level of conference, you want to play at Malibu? Like, oh shit, sign me up. You know what I mean? Like, awesome. They needed new lights for the stadium, and it took them 3 years to get approved.
Oh my gosh!
And you're like, well, it's just stadium lights. Well, if you own a $12 million mansion and you like to look up and see the stars that you never see in LA, but you're in Malibu, would you want light pollution?
No.
And are you probably a pretty powerful person if you have that type of money?
100%, yeah.
So that's why, in fairness to them, it's probably hard to get shit built around there unless it's on your property. But then it's like, well, if you block my sight line, I'm going to just litigate your ass. And, the HOA around you is
totally.
We're pretty powerful people. Like, so have fun. So there's that with some of the universities are, obviously prestigious and where they're at. It's not like you can just go build a fucking skyscraper or whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just part of the deal. But it'll be cool when they get their new building. I always wondered this. Do you think we would ever, let's say fast forward 2-3 years, that we would schedule like a Pepperdine just to play at our place?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, hey, do you guys want to play like Santa Clara? Do you want to come up and just play us for shits and gigs again?
Yeah.
Like, you get a place, say at the Davenport. It's an easy trip to get up here. It's an easy flight, all that stuff.
It makes me want, like it would be cool to have like one of our games be scheduled against like.
I always thought the St. Mary's one always makes sense, and maybe we play them a neutral. But then I guarantee, like, just if you really break it down, you're like, oh, why would we want to play these guys?
But when I did a poll,
they're just so hard to beat, and just you know what I mean. It's like, God.
When we were playing against Campbell, I put up a poll on our Instagram. I was like, after we had a conversation about UCLA being rivals, I put up like who is our biggest rival, and it was UCLA, St. Mary's, WSU, and I put in BYU in there as well. And it was like 300 votes, and it was 90% St. Mary's.
Yeah,
and
people
I was
hate
like,
St. Mary's.
I hate them. I hate them, and it is our most like long-standing rivalry right now.
We've had some classics against them. And that's what's sad, because I have a lot of respect, and I've talked about it, I have a lot of respect for that program. I really do. Like at the university, they always treat us good when we're down there. I mean that. Like there's a rivalry with Alex Jensen used to be their play-by-play guy on the radio. We'd go have beer. It was good for looking to see Alex every time.
Yeah.
We'd go. He'd take us out. We'd go have beers and just sit there. And some of their fans would walk by and they'd be like looking like, aren't there those two Gonzaga radio guys? Like, yeah. It's like, it's all right. We can have beers together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, good dude. Understood. Well, whatever. You know what I mean? And they always treat us right. Have everything set up. Like. And we do the same thing for them. So I just have respect for them as a program than what Randy's done. They've had great players there, too.
Maybe we'll do what Kentucky does to us. Like, say, we'll play you at home and we'll play you down at...
That's what I thought. It's like, maybe we just, we'll play you here. And then if you come down, we can play a neutral for you, but in their backyard or whatever. But, it'll be interesting. And obviously we're going to talk a ton more about the WCC once the season's going.
Yeah.
But, it's be like, oh, well, this is the last game we'll ever play in this building, all those things. And, we'll see. It's a little bittersweet for some people. Like, to me, it's time to move on. But, there's some old school Gonzaga fans that have watched a lot of games. And, then if you're, hardcore Catholic, and it's not even a joke, but like Catholic schools play Catholic schools. That's unique, too. You know what I mean? So... a lot of things are going away. That's just the way the world works, I guess.
Yeah, no, it really is.
But,
well, I'll kind of end this with our Ask Adam question, and it has to do with the non-conference play. The perimeter will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
It's time for Home Team Rewards. Zag fans, get your Bulldog branded ICCU Premier Rewards Visa credit card, the only card where you can earn rewards for everyday purchases while giving back to Gonzaga University. Choose from a Visa Rewards card with a lower rate or a Premier Rewards card with maximum rewards. With no annual fees, card control, and next-level security, you can spend smart from tap to app. Zags, rejoice! Find your card at iccu.com/GoZags on approved credit.
Has to do with the non-conference play. Which Gonzaga player has most surprised you in this first half?
Most surprising. Okay, so obviously I think the MVP so far would be the two lefties, and you can argue either which way because they both had massive games and massive times and good stretches, better than some better than others, but it's close. I mean, Graham's averaging 17, Braden's 19. You know what I mean? Like, they both had monster games. I think the most surprising, if we're being honest, and surprising in a good way was just Mario's Saint Supri. Like nobody had him on his radar. Obviously, and I've said this, and maybe it's disservice to this podcast and the people that listen, but I don't really give a shit until October, and I can hear what they're doing in practice.
Yeah,
because everybody always, every recruit's, oh, he's so good, and it's not a like. So I think when some people hear that, they think I'm just like, well, I was better than all these fuckers, so whatever. It's like you're all going to be a high level recruit if you're going to Gonzaga,
right?
I got to see it when Coach Few's on your ass. Third day of 2-a-days. Yeah. You have 78 plays you got to learn. You know what I mean? Like, that's when I'll be like, okay, can he really play? And so I didn't have him on any, I didn't even know who he was. Then I saw him in the craziness count. I was like, oh, there's something there. And then every single game, he's just got better and better. Then obviously moved in the starting lineup. Yeah. He's had some big games for us. His decision making. Somebody told me he was on like a couple draft boards as a second rounder. I think he needs at least one more year, maybe two. I think he's a pro. Not just saying that, but I think body type, decision making, but everything's got to get tighter. Yeah, that's every young player. Like your handle's good, but I think NBA tight. You know what I mean? You say that about everybody. Shot's good, but it's got to get tighter. Yeah, decision making. You know what I mean? All that stuff. But you're like, oh, you're on the right trajectory. You have the body type, decision making. You're quick enough. You know, now you got to really tighten the screws on a lot of things in your game. So I think just from that standpoint, he's been the most surprising. We knew Tyon was great. Obviously, it was great that he got approved. Yeah. Adam Miller had some heritage or whatever to his game playing at Arizona State the year before. Yeah. Then as of late, Braden Smith has been surprising in a good way as far as how he's handled himself, how well he's played. But I think those two guys have done exactly what you could ask for 2 point guards in our program with a lot of pressure, replacing two guys who played a shit ton of games, won a lot of games, and Nemhard and Hickman the year before. Yeah. So it was an interesting, he's like, okay, I know that kid redshirt, he was player of the year at Colgate, and then obviously this kid from Spain, I don't know how you say his last name. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they've been pretty good. If you just dive into the numbers, it's like, yeah, they're passing with flying colors because it's hard being point guard at Gonzaga as far as the pressure, the lineage, whatever, man. Like people have a lot of expectations, rightfully so. And then Coach Few's hard on point guards in a good way. I'm the same way as a coach. Like it's your fault if we don't get into something, even though somebody's in the wrong spot, it's your fault. Yeah, I mean, that's just how you're the point guard. Ball's in your hand. You have a different responsibility when the ball's in your hands constantly. You get to handle the rock, especially at the younger level. That's why I'm harder on point guards. Like you have the ball in your hands. Like you get the fair, other kids want the ball in their hands, and you get the choice of it. You have to get everybody organized. If I say something, you don't repeat it, I'm blaming you. Somebody's not in the right spot, it's your fault. You don't know a play, you don't know you're the one, but you don't know what the four does during this play, it's your fault. You're supposed to get them there. So our 2 point guards have been the most surprising in a good way. Yeah. Been terrific, and hopefully it continues. Needs to continue, obviously going to WCC play, but they've had a great 12-1. I saw a stat too, 10 of our 11 wins, or what are we, 11-1 or 12-1?
We're 12-1.
12-1. 11 of the 10 wins, or 10 of the 11 wins or whatever by double figures, and last game was 9.
Oh, right.
Of the games that we've played. So almost every win would have been by double figures. Yep. And then they scored late, but my SID, Barrett Henderson, had it written down, and then he crossed it out. Like he's just like, and he's great because he always gives us a little, he gave us a great stat with Braden Smith. The last time he scored 20 was he had 21 in the semifinals in 2024 of the Patriot League or whatever. Oh, wow. Okay. You know what I mean? So it's been a while. Obviously he didn't play last year. So little things like that. But, next week we'll cover obviously Pepperdine in the San Diego game. I didn't want to do a prep over them. No offense, but it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. They're in San Diego. There's the prep. Yeah. We'll definitely, and then we'll get into the WCC and we'll talk about that and just where the team's at. But I appreciate.
Oh gosh, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. I appreciate everybody listening. I appreciate our sponsors, McGilvery Environmental, Idaho Central Credit Union, M4 CPA. Thank you.